Can I not marry? Audio web novel chapter 44, Mom the high standard of rich and powerful daughter-in-law. As the proverb goes, an ugly daughter-in-law will have to face her parents-in-law sooner or later. In the end, it was inevitable that Du Lacey had to meet the president's mother. Therefore, her heart was extremely nervous. Before returning home, in Du Lacey's mind emerged countless images related to mother-in-laws. Sukas's mothers from Meteor Garden to TVB hit drama Ning Li's mother from Wars of In-Laws to the Empress from My Fair Princess, all of them are vicious and nitpicking. What if the president's mother is also this type of person? What should she do? Thinking to this point, Du Lacey could not help but raise a hint of worry. But when she thought of her and the president's marriage up until now, which time wasn't it not subvert the romance? Perhaps the president's mother will be the same as old madam, taking a special liking to her. Besides, she is not bad. Although her family background is ordinary, her appearance is ordinary and her chest slightly flat, but at least she's blessed with fertility. Thinking to this point, Du Lacey's confidence returned. She's only meeting her mother-in-law, not meeting a monster. What is there to be afraid of? There's nothing to be afraid of. After hypnotizing herself 100 times, Du Lacey felt confident enough to meet her mother-in-law. However, just one single sentence from the president crushed her established confidence to the ground. In a moment when you meet with my mother, try to speak as little as possible. Du Lacey swallowed her saliva, her heart felt slightly down. Your mother wouldn't be the very solemn type, right? Lian Jun sternly replied, a little bit. Her heart once again dropped even lower. Will your mother not like me? It's hard to say. Again her heart sank even lower. Wait. Du Lacey suddenly realized something. Could it be you haven't told your mother about our marriage? Yes, I haven't. Quote ellipsis quote. Considering the above reasons, Du Lacey's heart finally sank deeply. She disconsolately asked Lian Jun, then what should I do? When she meets her mother-in-law, what should she say? She can't self-introduction, saying, I am your daughter-in-law, right? That's too weird. Seeing her behave this way, Lian Jun felt it was really funny and his serious expression slightly softened. What is there to worry about? I married you, not my mother. When he said this, his tone was relaxed, which miraculously calmed down Du Lacey's irritable heart. Yes, even if the sky is falling, there's the president. What is there to be afraid of? When the two of them arrived at the entrance, Old Yu was already standing by the door respectfully waiting with a bow position. Seeing them approach, he straightened up and said with a strange expression on his face, young master, young madam, madam has already been in the house waiting for a long time. After he said this, they walked towards the living room. Neither fast or slow, Lian Jun walked in front, while Du Lacey followed behind like a quail. Very quickly they arrived at the living room. Lian Jun suddenly stopped and reached out his hand to Du Lacey's slightly trembling paws. Because he has just came off the drip, his hands were still very cool. It's okay, he said. Du Lacey nodded, using a few minutes to summon some courage. Holding the president's hands, they walked into the living room. One glance Du Lacey saw Lian Anna sitting on the sofa. At first she was startled and could not help but feel sadness welling up within her. Why is her mother-in-law's body better than hers? This sad little reminder is too miserable. T_____________. Yes, that's right. Lian Anna was wearing a tailored narrow black shoulder dress. It looked natural without losing its charm. On her neck laid a glittering large carat diamond necklace. In a flash Du Lacey was dazzled by this. Mom. The standard of a wealthy and influential daughter-in-law. Hearing movement, Lian Anna turned toward their direction. Her face was maintained excellently. Only in the corner of her eyes left traces of the years slipping through. This face of hers, one was fully able to imagine how beautiful she was in her prime youth. But Du Lacey felt that this wasn't the most important thing. The focus was her eyes. They were deep, sharp and impermeable. It was the identical to her first encounter with the president. Having such eyes staring at her, Du Lacey once again felt timid. She clenched Lian Jun's hand a little tighter. At the same time, Lian Anna's eyes landed on their clenched hands. Suddenly her serious eyes arise an ambiguous meaning. Mom. Lian Jun went up and greeted her as he asked, how come you have returned from Italy? Lian Anna looked back, lightly replied, in a few days it's your grandpa's death anniversary. I've come back to see. Lian Jun asked, how are you recently? Still passable. How the situation in the company recently? Very good. I've just signed several contracts. The pair of mother and son, you one sentence, I one sentence chatting. Du Lacey listening to the conversation on the side was slightly ignorantly. How is that a mother and son of a wealthy and influential family, after not seeing each other for a long time, once meeting would speak about these topics? Sounds like they're business partners, talking about business. Naturally, Du Lacey thought of her Holmes, Queen Mother of the West. If they haven't seen each other for so long, the first sentence the Empress will say is, smelly wench, do you miss your mother? If you don't miss her then don't think about coming in. Such imposing manner. So heroic. The president's mother, upon seeing her own son, didn't even laugh nor smile. She didn't even seem joyful about the reuniting with her child. Just as Du Lacey was pondering about this issue, the mother and son's dialogue unexpectedly ended. Lian Jun stood up from the sofa and was ready to walk away. Du Lacey was anxious. President, how can you forget the most important thing? She still haven't greeted her mother-in-law. Du Lacey weakly spoke, my name is Du Lacey. After she finished this sentence, Du Lacey was almost so embarrassed that she wanted to pull out her own mouth. Which daughter-in-law meeting her mother-in-law for the first time would report her name? She could have at least said hello first. Besides, if her own mother-in-law knew her name was Du Lacey, would her mother-in-law think she's telling her a dirty joke? While Du Lacey was embarrassed not knowing what to do, Lian Anna quietly asked Lian Jun without moving, your complexion doesn't look too good, are you sick? I'm okay, I just ate something a little bad so my stomach aches. Lian Anna's expression turned cold. Shouldn't you know which things you cannot eat? This question gave Du Lacey a sudden fright. When she regained her senses, she only realized the question Lian Anna asked was directed towards her. Obviously the meaning hidden within her words were, as a wife, how can you not take good care of your own husband's diet? For a moment, Du Lacey was stupefied, stammer as she replied, that, I. While she didn't know how to answer her mother-in-law's question, Lian Jun suddenly opened his mouth and answered for her, don't know. Appearing fatigued, he added, you should have told me earlier, then I would have known. Lian Anna's complexion suddenly sank. Eloquently she glanced at Du Lacey and didn't speak further. Following the president back to their room, Du Lacey has been uneasy, coupled with Lian Jun's indifferent appearance. She couldn't help but ask, we coming up like this, is it not too good? What's wrong with it? Precisely. Du Lacey didn't know how to express what she wanted to say. She is your mother. Why does it look like you have grudges against each other? She asked as she secretly cast a glance at him, with his eyebrows was raised as he appeared much more dignified. He was silent for a moment before saying, it's nothing, don't think too much into it. He said, and walked into the bathroom. Du Lacey seized him by the arm and blurted out, you're lying. Lian Jun stopped, appearing slightly surprised. Being stared by him, Du Lacey was somewhat timid, but since she has spoken, she had to harden her scalp and continue, she is your mother, even if she really did anything wrong, you can't treat her that way. What parent in the world doesn't love their own children? I think you should communicate, perhaps the misunderstanding will be lifted. The more Du Lacey spoke, the more quiet she got, because she could see Lian Jun's glaze became more deeper. Du Lacey felt slightly uncomfortable. Could it be he thinks she's too noisy? Regardless, he is still the superior president. When would he need her to teach him? But then again, regardless, she is his wife. A wife worrying about her husband's problem is justifiable. Even though this husband of hers is slightly overbearing. Greater than .. Just as Du Lacey was pondering over the issue, Lian Jun's expression toned down. It's not as bad as you think. He explained patiently. He still wants to deceive her. Clearly he didn't want to tell her. Du Lacey was depressed as her hands clenched more tightly on his shirt. Lian Jun appeared somewhat helpless. Be good and let it go. I want to take a shower. Dream on. I'm not letting go. Do. Lian Jun sigh. Do you want to take a shower with me? Du Lacey immediately let go of her claws. I don't mind, he said with a smile. President, don't go overboard. T______T in the end, naturally they didn't shower together, because this situation such as Mandarin duck bathing together really teased one's endurance. However, a certain person today didn't have the strength to eat another. However, this does not mean he can't take liberties with her. After constantly teasing her, Du Lacey's face blush, Lian Jun went to the bathroom satisfied. The moment he closed the bathroom door, the smiling on his face disappeared. Perhaps it's time he find a chance to clear everything.